Howdy folks, welcome back to our 8th grade science series. Today we're going to talk about wave behavior. So refraction, reflection, absorption, prism, stuff like that. So some more physical science stuff, and let's do this. Science rocks.
All right, guys, open up your science notebook. Remember to take notes and draw pictures as you follow along. Go ahead and copy down these 11, only 11, that's awesome, vocab words. They go in ABC order like this, and just come back later and create your own definitions of these words. Remember to always use your own words so it makes sense to you and to draw pictures. So go ahead and pause this if you need to finish writing down the vocab words. So sometimes when a wave encounters a new medium, it is reflected, all right? Reflection occurs when the wave does not pass into the new material, but it is instead sent off in a new direction with the same amount of energy. So when a light wave is reflected, it leaves the surface of the reflected material, like water or a mirror, at the same angle at which it approached it. Okay, so this angle of approach is known as the angle of incidence, the angle of incidence. And the angle at which the wave leaves is known as the angle of reflection, angle of reflection. So the law of reflection states that when a wave is reflected, the angle of incidence is always equal to the angle of reflection. So this means that waves bounce off a flat surface at the same angle at which they strike it. Absorption occurs when an object takes in a wave's energy. So absorption is the opposite of reflection. The colors that are perceived by the eyes are a result of reflection and absorption. If an object reflects a particular color and absorbs all other colors, it appears to be the color that it reflects. So, for example, the socks shown here are red because they reflect more red light than other colors of light. They reflect more red light than other colors of light. Many of these other colors of light are absorbed when they strike the socks. Any light that is not reflected or absorbed by a medium is transmitted or passed through it. Okay, so transmission is the process by which a wave passes through a substance. So the transmission of visible light waves occurs readily through glass. Refraction or bending occurs when waves pass from one medium into a new medium, such as when light travels from the air into water or from water into air. So this bending is the changing of the wave's direction as it makes this transition. Light waves traveling from the stem move in a straight line through the water, okay, until they encounter a new medium, the air. All right? When they pass into the air, they change direction, which makes the stem appear to be broken, but we know it's not. So this is caused by the fact that waves cannot travel as quickly in water as they can in air. All right, so let's talk a little bit about digital versus analog waves. One way to understand the difference between digital and analog signals is to think of a digital wave as square waves, okay? And analog waves as all other forms of waves, such as this smooth-looking wave, okay? Digital waves carry information as series of zeros and ones. Okay, series of zeros and ones. It's known as a binary code. It's known as a binary code. This accounts for the square shape, okay, of digital waves. So each part of the wave has only one clearly defined value. All right. Analog waves carry a continuous range of values. So each point on an analog wave has a value that is slightly different than the value of the next adjacent point. Okay, so the exact value of any one piece of information is not clearly defined. All right, so as a result, every analog wave is unique. Okay, even those that appear very nearly identical, they are indeed unique. All right, so many square waves or digital waves can be used to mimic an analog wave and transmit really the same information. So there are a number of advantages to transmitting digital signals over analog signals. And one of those advantages is associated with noise or distortion. Okay, so noise is any unwanted signal that distorts or reshapes the original wave. So you can see the analog wave here, and after noise, it kind of is distorted. So noise can be caused by objects such as buildings or other waves traveling through the air. Both analog and digital waves can experience noise as they travel. Okay, here's the digital wave with a little bit of noise as they travel. However, since digital waves carry clearly defined values, certain amounts of noise can be easily corrected when a signal is amplified. So after you amplify it, you can easily correct that digital wave. Okay. It is not as simple to remove noise after amplification on an analog wave. See, it's still kind of distorted. All right, make sure to watch this video over light sometime. That's pretty cool. All right, let's do some practice questions. Number 1, Barry fixes his tie by looking at it in the mirror. How does the light coming from Barry's tie reach his eyes? Okay, so pause this and see what you think. All right, so light bouncing off of Barry's tie is reflected off of the mirror. So D, it is reflected off of the mirror and then travels towards his eyes. Okay, so light bouncing off Barry's tie is reflected off of the mirror and then travels toward his eyes. So light tends to travel in straight lines until it strikes an object or travels from one medium to another. So in this case, the light from Barry's tie travels in a straight line until it strikes the mirror. The mirror reflects this light, and this allows Barry to see it in the mirror. So D. All right, number 2, rainbows, like the one shown here, form when sunlight passes through raindrops and is separated into different colors. So, what happens to the sunlight when it passes through the raindrops that causes the rainbow to form? So, pause this and see what you think. All right, so when light that is traveling in air then travels through water, such as a raindrop, the light is bent and redirected. So the light is bent and redirected. The different colors of light bend by different amounts at the surfaces of the raindrop. So this separates them into a rainbow. So A. All right, let's look at number 3. These figures show flashlight beams being reflected off of mirrors and waves reflecting off of the shore. What scientific property is illustrated by these figures? So pause it, read over your choices, and see what you think. All right, look at the reflection on a flat surface, okay, shown right here. So the ray of light which strikes the surface is called the incident ray. Okay. The ray of light which leaves the surface is called the reflected ray. All right. So imagine a line perpendicular to the surface drawn at the point of reflection. Okay. That is the line. This line is called the normal line. Okay, so the angle between the incident ray and the normal line is the angle of incidence. So here's your normal line, and this angle is your angle of incidence. Okay, the angle between the reflected ray and the normal line is called the angle of reflection. So this would be your angle of reflection. All right, the angle of incidence right here is equal to the angle of reflection right here. So the exact angle at which the beam and wave strike the surface is the same angle at which they are reflected. So if you look through our answer choices, you will come up with C. All right, number 4, a prism like this one shown can cause light to separate into different colors. So what happens to the light when it passes through the prism that explains the formation of a rainbow? So pause this and see what you come up with. All right, so when light that is traveling in air strikes a surface, the light may be reflected, redirected, or absorbed by the material. Okay, light is able to pass through a prism, but the light is redirected or bent. Okay, so the different colors of light bend by different amounts. Okay, like see this violet one is bent more than this red one when they enter a prism surface, and again when they exit the prism. So this separates them into a rainbow. So if you look at your answer choices, it looks like C. Number 5, last question. Wireless internet networks, including many used in homes, often make use of high-frequency radio waves. High-frequency waves are useful because they can carry a lot of information. However, high-frequency waves are less capable of passing through objects than are low-frequency waves. So, as a result, waves traveling from a person's wireless laptop computer, for example, could be interrupted by objects between the computer and the modem. So, due to this limitation of high-frequency waves, which of the following statements best explains why digital waves, remember these kind of waves, are commonly used in high-frequency wireless networks instead of analog waves? Remember the analog waves were like this. All right, so pause it and see what you come up with. All right, so in general, it is easier to correct small disruptions in digital waves than in analog waves. Okay, so it looks like B. Digital waves are these square waves, remember? While analog waves are all other forms of waves, and they can be these smooth-looking waves. So many square waves can be used to mimic an analog wave. So, and if one or two squares are missing from the wave due to distortion, a modem or other device can often correct this small loss of information by simply ignoring it. Okay, correcting small losses of information from an analog wave is not as simple. All right, so after fully mastering this, you should be able to create a project, a presentation, or maybe an experiment, and you should be able to develop and use a model to describe that waves are reflected, absorbed, or transmitted through various materials. Also, integrate qualitative scientific and technical information to support the claim that digital signals sent as wave pulses are a more reliable way to encode and transmit information. So, good luck and get to it.